That sounds fantastic.
It's very incredible. Let's keep it quiet though.
Minutes.
3.
Almost 4.
Hey folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER. Today I have the latest and greatest in the all-metal fan series coming from JP Hobby and Falcon Hobby Supply. This is the 105mm 12-cell version of the fan. Now this one's going to come in 8-cell, 10, 12, and even a 14-cell version. These are the nicest built, nicest engineered fans I think I've ever seen. If you hadn't seen the videos already on the 70mm set of twin fans that we put in the ME262, check that out, and you'll see how nice these things are. Now this thing comes from the factory just the way you see it, outrunner motor installed and all balanced and really ready to drop in. Now I'm going to be putting this in a 12-cell 105mm Super Viper, and I'll be showing you how to do that in the video, but I'm just going to give you a quick preview of this thing if I can. Comes with 3 bullet connectors, so you can solder these on to whatever ESC you're going to use. And other than that, it comes pretty much complete the way you see it. You'll notice if you saw the other videos, the 70mm fan, and I think even for this one, they make a cone that screws onto the back here. But the cone's really only needed for the in-runner motor. That cools the in-runner motor better, but since we have an outrunner, the outrunner actually cools better without the cone on it that actually screws on here. So that's really not needed. Again, lots of features to talk about. One of the nice things is the mounting tabs on this thing are actually screwed in place. As you can see, there's some screws in there, Allen screws, that bolt this on, and there's 3 mounting holes to mount this on. The wires that come out here all have a really nice braided material that protects them, and they actually come out of here instead of, you know, the back of the fan, so it doesn't block any of the air coming out. There's a dedicated dorsal fin here, as you can see, where those wires exit. So very nice planning. Back here on the motor, you can see the holes they drilled back here. These will be a little bit different depending on the motor you get, because they spin balance these at the factory, and they drill away some of the frame here to reduce the weight on that side, so the whole thing balances better. So, you know, if you see that there, that's what that's for. Obviously balance mark right here and so forth. But overall, folks, really nice fan. I really can't get over the quality and the precision fit of this thing. You can just see the detailed work here and how this is really nicely machined at the factory. Now everything disassembles if you need to disassemble it. You really don't need to for any reason unless you need some of the parts for mounting. And some of the things that do disassemble on all these JP fans, for example, the spinner cone comes off here. And you can see it comes off sort of backwards. It's not clockwise to tighten, it's counterclockwise to tighten. And that's pretty much how everything is on this, except for that optional spinner cone here that's in the back. But you can see here, as I unscrew this, what a nice precise fit this is. A lot of times I do have to unscrew the engine inlet lip here for mounting inside of the airplane. And you can see as this thing comes off here how fine these threads are. You can see how precision of a fit this thing is. You do want to be really careful putting this thing back together, that you don't cross thread everything. Again, you can see here how this thing comes off. I'll try and do this very smoothly for you. And just look at that rotor. That's all machined out of one piece of aluminum. And you can see how fine those blades are and how nicely this whole thing is machined. Now there's no collet type drive. Those things are I've always found those to be a pain in the neck. This thing is fit right on at the factory, and then you can see the set screw slot right there. I think there's one on the other side as well, and that's how this thing is mounted. This is probably something you do not want to disassemble. It's balanced at the factory, and you can see all those lightning holes that they put in there. Again, it's balanced at the factory, and they drill away material to balance this out. So when you get it, it's a glassy, smooth operation, and you don't need to do anything to it. It's already pre-balanced and ready to go. But again, you can just see how precise this thing is. Now, one of the nicest features of this JP fan, and what makes it such a nice design, is that because the rotor is one piece, as you can see, and it doesn't have to turn the cone. The actual spinner is a fixed piece with stators here just to keep it in place. The advantage of that is the motor only has to turn the rotor. It doesn't have the extra, weight and mass of having to turn that spinner. The spinner is not going to wobble or come out of balance, but it still provides the aerodynamic effect there. You can also see right around this inner rotor here that there's plenty of cooling as the air goes back through into the motor and where it all comes out to the back. So the cooling is superior, and of course an all metal frame means it's not going to distort, and the heat dissipates through the whole frame. So just a spectacular design, the most innovative one I have seen in a while. And if I can, I'll upgrade all my planes to this. It's really, really nice. Now, you do want to be careful, again, putting everything back together. You do have to be very, very careful not to cross-thread this thing, because you can cross-thread it pretty easily. Counterclockwise gets it back on. You can see there, you got to be very, very careful starting this thing on there. There we go. It's getting on there. And once you get it on there, it'll spin on there pretty nice. It's a very, very, again, very, very precise fit on this whole thing. Same thing with the inlet lip. I'm going to kind of do this. It's kind of tough doing this on the camera. And again, you really don't want to cross-thread this thing. You just want to kind of be very careful getting this whole thing back on. Sort of feel your way through it. But once you get it on there, it goes on there really nice. And it goes on really tight. It's a very, very, very snug fit. You definitely want to make sure it's all nice and tight if you do take it apart for any reason, especially this cone, because you don't want that cone coming off and going into the intake. But really super nice fan. Now, one of the best features of this fan, and I indicated last time around too, was the fit between the fan blade and the cowling. Now, as I go in there, you can really see how tight that tolerance is. Now, it was 1/4 millimeter on the 70mm fan. On this one, it's 1/2 millimeter, so a 0.5 millimeter gap. Just a very tight, very precise fit of this fan. I can't wait to see this one run, and I can't wait to get this in the airplane. So with that, let's get on with installing this inside the 12-cell 105mm Super Viper. Before we get the JP fan in the airplane, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a comparison with the stock EDF unit. The stock fan works great in the airplane. Really never had too many problems with it. The differences really are the motor. The motor in the stock fan is a 700 kV, and in the new JP fan, it's an 840 kV. Which means that they can spin this a bit faster and get some more thrust out of it. Again, the biggest deals really are the gap between the prop blades, or the fan blades, and the wall, and then of course that spinner that the JP fan doesn't need to turn around, and therefore you can also see there's a lot more blade length, okay, to the JP fan, where there's less to the stock fan, the change sun fan here. The other difference really is in the weight too. The weight of the stock fan is about 630, I think it was about 630 grams when I weighed it, and it's about 507 is what I weighed for. So you lose 130, 120 some odd grams, which is about 4.5 ounces difference in weight. So the the JP fan is actually quite a bit lighter. So, so you have to account for that in the center of gravity or the balance of the airplane, because you're losing some tail weight with this fan. But you can see the mounting tabs, the difference there. There's 3 tabs on the JP, and overall, you know, very similar in size for the most part. But you can see the difference in how precise it is, and overall the quality control. Again, nothing bad on the Change Sun fan. It's a nice fan, but we'll see how it compares up to the JP once we get that installed. The installation process in the HSD Super Viper is super simple. There's just 4 screws, 1 in the back, 2 here in the middle, and actually 1 up front. And you can see that the whole hatch cover here just comes off. There is a huge trench under here, you know, kind of slotted out for all your wires to go, in case you have a little bit longer wires. But really all there is to it is just unplugging the 3 connections. You can see here I have the new fan already sort of installed in here just to show you. But you basically unhook your 3 connections, and you can see here your stock fan in here, and the 2 screws that hold it in place. You just take the stock fan out, and then you essentially just put the new fan in place. But you can see I had to make a few changes. I noticed that the cowling here is actually a little bit smaller than the stock fan, because the stock fan is all, you know, glass reinforced plastic. It has thick walls, whereas this is aluminum, light, efficient, so it's real thin walled. So the outside of the case is a little bit smaller, but no big deal. What I found when I put the fan in is it just wobbled around side to side a little bit, and it had some space up and down also, because again the entire diameter of this is just a little bit smaller. So you just need to fill it in with something. What I did is I took some Gorilla Tape, only because the Gorilla Tape is very thick, and I think I used about 5 to 8 layers along here and here, and then I actually wrapped a little bit around here as well. You can see I just to thicken it up a little bit and really just get the space out of it. You can see here as well I put a little bit here on the back side, and you can see how it's just, you can see right there, it's several layers thick. Just use what you need just to fill up the void. And the beauty is it comes right off if you need to install this in another plane. But you want to make sure that when your fan is in there, that it's not wobbling around. It's not teetering around side to side. It's not, you know, bobbling up and down, which it won't, because it's actually screwed in place. And then when you put your hatch cover on, that it actually fits down there nice and snug with all the wires in the channel. Now the bolt pattern is a little bit different, but you can see there's lots of plastic here on the HSD Super Viper, and there's 3 mounting holes to choose from. I just went ahead and used the center ones. You can use all 3 or you know, 2 or 4 of them if you want to, or the center hole, or you can use 2 of any of the other screws to get this in place. But once it's snug and you've wrapped tape around here, you can use any tape you want. You just bolt this thing in, just make your connections again, and you're ready to put this thing back together and go out and fly. One additional item that I did have to change on mine was that I noticed that the bullet connectors that came on the fan itself were a little bit thicker than the ones on the stock speed controller. So I desoldered and resoldered on new female bullet ends on the ESC side, and that fit perfectly. So you may or may not need to do that depending on the size of the bullets that are supplied with either side, whether it's the fan side or the ESC side. Here's just a quick look at the final installation. Everything all closed up minus the 4 screws that go back into place. You just want to make sure the hatch cover goes down snugly, and all the lines just fit sort of, all the panel lines are nice and tight, and you're ready to go. Now as I pull the hatch cover off here, you can see the fan completely installed in place. It's all plugged in, ready to go. I did use 1 tie wrap right here just to keep those wires sort of centered in the channel here, in the wire channel for everything. But otherwise, everything just stays in place. So it's really that simple to secure this thing down. 2 screws, and then just run some tape or something as a spacer, again on both the fan and on the hatch cover, just to keep it from moving side to side, up and down, or just wobbling around. And then if you do need to change your bullet connectors, it's just soldering 3 bullets on that fit, and this thing's ready to go. Now it is all plugged in, so we'll go ahead and give you a little bit of a run up here. You do want to hold on to this thing because it has quite a bit of power. Here we go. All right, and you can see the sound of this thing. It is just glassy smooth. Really nicely balanced from the factory. Really can't wait to get this one out to the flying field and see what it does out there. Anyway, guys, check out once again the JP Hobby Fans 105 millimeter all metal fan at Falcon Hobby Supply. Thanks for watching RC Informer, and as always, we'll see you next time.